Hi everybody, it's Rory at Claude Painting Studio, and I've got a new painting guide for everyone today. I have mentioned before on the channel that my own Napoleonic French army is short on brigade commanders, and if I ever actually want to play some brigade level games like Black Powder, I really need to get some command bases done. So today I'm going to be painting up a commander for my Italian brigade. Now, the Kingdom of Italy essentially was a vassal state of France, and French uniforms are the go-to. So using a French range is where you can pick up appropriate models. This is a Pery metal French Imperial Guard commander from the FN 97 pack. Although he's a named commander of the Imperial Guard, he will serve my Italians just fine. The general and his horse have been primed with Colourforge matte white. I've then given that a wash with Army Painter light tone with quick shade medium. It's a ratio of 1 part light tone to 2 parts medium. And that nicely defines the recesses, makes the details a bit easier to see when painting. And it adds a bit of shadowing, which will help when I use some contrast style paints later, just to be a bit darker in the recesses and lighter on the raised spots. After doing the wash, I gave the model a dry brush with some Vallejo model colour Ivory. And again, that's just lightening those high spots a little bit to create further contrast between light and dark. The horse is going to largely stay as a white horse, so I'll give a quick guide on how to do that. Hint, most of the work's already done by the primer and dry brushing choice earlier. And for the first time today, I'm going to open a bottle of Army Painter Speedpaint Metallics. I have not used these before, so this could go well or terribly, but this should hopefully be a one-coat solution to metal areas such as the sword. So we'll see how that goes later. So first paint out of the pot is Games Workshop Contrast Dark Angels Green. I'm going to paint the coat of the general. This area is like the cuffs, which has some sculpted lace on them, so I will leave the centre of that white just now, and we'll use the Army Painter metallics on that later. Same with epaulets on the shoulder, and you can see the lace work on the collar as well to avoid. So do the jacket on the general, and on the horse, the saddle cloth. There's a couple of areas of trim around the border on the outside, so I'll do green here again, leave the border free, and in the centre of these covers over the pistol at the front, there's some green and silver around the outside. I'll come back and show you how that looks. So there's a couple of areas where I've gone over with the green that I'll need to come back and tidy up with some ivory later on. But we need some black Templar, again a Games Workshop contrast paint for his hat. I'm going to leave the feathery plume in white. White for a brigade commander, division commander would be black. The other things to paint here, scabbard for the sword, boots and stirrup leather. The horse reins will also be in black, and I'll try and pick out the eyes and nostrils on the horse with black Templar as well. For his skin, I am going for Vallejo Xpress colour dwarf skin. I prefer the Vallejo Xpress skin tone over the Games Workshop flesh tones. Obviously, whatever you have, just go ahead and use. My model colour Ivory from Vallejo back out, and I'm tidying up any areas where I've got contrast paint splashed onto surfaces that I still need to paint, so I was carefully redefining them. Because of the translucency of the contrast type paints, they won't work very well over contaminated areas. You'll not get the same consistency of colour, so the ivory's coming out for that. Also in places like his breeches, just a little bit of highlighting for areas that are going to be this white colour. Straps holding onto the sword as well. So I'll tidy up all these areas that have a bit of overspill and we'll move on to the next colour. That's a small detail, this. The rosette that's on his hat would have white, red and green. So the white would be the outer colour, so just either side of the pin there I'm putting some Vallejo Xpress Plasma Red. No need to put the green on, it's covered by the pin and wouldn't be seen here. Other detail I'm doing with Plasma Red is the ribbon of this medal over to the outer side of the chest, and a yellow ribbon for the other medal. This is Games Workshop Contrast Iyanden yellow. Do some dark brown hair on this general, so I've got Cygor brown, Citadel contrast colour. Right, time for my first experiment with Speedpaint Metallics. For Enchanted steel, to do all the silver lace areas and trim. Italian Generals had a silver sash around the middle. I mentioned before about doing his sword and lace around the collar, cuffs and epaulets as well. On his hat, have a silver lace detail as well, avoiding the feathers in the centre of the bicorn there. So it goes on okay. I can see that there is a bit of a contrasting effect. I guess the real difference will be when it's dry. Coverage is pretty good, not patchy, just goes on the sword smoothly in one coat. On the horse, I've got the trim all the way around the outside of the saddle cloth to do. Also, pistols and holsters under that part of the saddle cloth. A little bit of the tack to do. So, go around all these details with Enchanted steel and we'll see how that looks. The other Speedpaint metallic I have is Glittering Loot, and I'm going to use that for the hilt on his sword. So that's a rapid approach to getting an Italian general turned out. I'll switch attention to the horse for some details on there, and then I think we'll take the painting to the next level and add some highlights to both the general and the horse. So with the horse, you can see we've got black reins on there, green saddlecloth and silver trim. I've filled in the nostrils and eyes of the horse with some black Templar earlier, but I think there's a couple of details that we can do to start differentiating between the tail and mane, and also the hooves from the base colour that we've got there. Now to paint those hooves, I've got some Xpress colour Wasteland brown. Going to add a bit of colour to the horse's muzzle. This is Army Painter Flesh Wash. It's been diluted 1:1 with quick shade mixing medium. I am washing the tail and mane, plus the lower legs with Army Painter Soft Tone, diluted 1:1 with quick shade mixing medium. And by this wash, it just helps break up that monotone white that we've got on the horse so far. Time to do some highlighting. This is Vallejo model colour deep green, as I add a couple of little highlights to the jacket. I'll also do the same to the saddlecloth on the horse. With Vallejo Panzer Aces dark rubber, I'm going to highlight the black. In a second, really fine highlight with Vallejo model colour London Grey. I'll do this on the horse reins as well. As a model colour beige brown, do a little highlight on the hair, sideburns and moustache. I've done the eyes off camera because it's a bit too tricky to do underneath the mobile phone. I'm going to tidy up this skin a bit. This is Army Painter Cobalt Skin. And it's a pretty good match for sort of the lighter tone of the Xpress dwarf skin. And I will do some dot highlights with Army Painter Corpse Pale. So things like cheekbone, nose, knuckles. Back to the horse, I've got some Games Workshop Wraithbone, a pot of Wraithbone that is, and I'll use that to highlight the lower limbs and the mane and tail. Okay, back with Vallejo model colour Ivory. I'll use some fine highlights of the horse flesh here. Anywhere where the highlight looks a bit too stark, I can glaze some of the GW Wraithbone. And by glazing, all I've done really is thin it with a lot of water. And this will help tie the base colour and that highlight colour together a bit better. On both horse and rider, I'm going to use some Vallejo Game Colour Silver to highlight the Enchanted steel. Leaping forward in time, I have put some matte varnish on the model. I'm using Winsor & Newton Galleria matte, just painted on. And I finished off the base with some tufts from Gamer's Grass and warpainter.net.
quite happy how the models turned out. I think it shows that the metallic speed paints have potential. I think I could have bought a lighter metal. That's on me, that one. But I think with the highlights of the Vallejo silver, it gets just about to the shade of metal that I want. Again, I think it's another good example of a model that benefits from some highlights put on with acrylic paints after using speed paints, contrast paints and Vallejo Xpress paints. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back soon with another video. Please leave any comments down below.